Welcome to ISE's Equity Index Weekly Outlook, a weekly outlook on ISE and other industry indexes, hosted by Patrick Ceresna, a derivative market specialist and investment manager with extensive expertise in options and the broader derivative markets. ISE trades options on more than 15 proprietary sector indexes, as well as broad-based indexes and a variety of licensed benchmarks. ISE continually enhances its trading systems and develops new index options products to provide investors with the best marketplace and investment tools to trade smarter.
Hello and welcome to the ISE Equity Index Outlook for May 31st, 2010. This is Patrick Ceresna. As always, we start off with the S&P 500 using that SPDR exchange traded fund symbol SPY. We saw those bottoms come in right along that 105, 106 focal point. And while this is definitely a short-term bottom, we are at this moment skeptical of the sustainability of any counter rally. At this moment, we continue to observe the 111 to 114 area on the upside for what is the retracement zone. Now, maybe over the next week or more, we could even spend some time working our way higher up into the zone. And eventually, though, if the market cannot fail to break above that area and do some sort of a legitimate rally, we certainly have to visit the idea that the whole market will roll over again out of this zone and do another sell cycle. But nonetheless, we don't believe that sell cycle will begin right away. The only way we would start to visit the idea that the sell cycle has to continue is if we immediately come out on Tuesday with very aggressive selling that gets us all the way back down to the 106 level. Then we'd have to look at the idea that we first have to go and test some lower zones before a real bottom is put in. But nonetheless, we think at this moment that we should inch our way higher, maybe even for another week or more on the upside up into this in the middle of this blue zone. And subsequently, if we roll over from there over the next couple of weeks, we would be targeting a move all the way down towards the 100 level on the downside on a next move. But before we forecast any move on the downside like that, we first have to watch the price action up in this zone, be very skeptical of its sustainability. Next here, I want to take a look at the ISE US Regional Banks Index, which is symbol JLO. We put in a short-term bottom in that 23-24 area and are retracing higher, no different than what we're seeing in the S&P 500. We're looking in this 2550 to 2650 area as a potential retracement zone on the upside. We're going to be looking to see whether or not we can see any relative strength in this sector as it may push up through there. But if it doesn't and it rolls out of this zone, then we'd be looking for, again, another market breakdown on the downside. So we're again going to be watching, thinking that it's still going to potentially move a little bit higher throughout this week, but again, skeptical of its sustainability. Next year, I want to take a look at the ISE Index, which is a symbol SIN. This is an index of all the casino, tobacco, and distiller companies. We finished a perfect move down to what we were targeting on the downside in that 104 area. At this point, we are now going to move our focal point down into this 104 to 106 area to mark off that short-term bottom. We're now, again, just doing a retracement after hitting our downside targets. We're, again, skeptical of its sustainability, looking for no more than maybe another $3 or $4 on the upside. We're not prepared to start shorting it or anything at this stage, but in the same regards, we are think there's only a marginal upside, and we're going to be watching for anything that starts to roll over to give a signal that this index is going to sell again. Next here, I want to take a look at the ISE Home Builders Index, which is a symbol RUF, and we again saw a short-term bottom come in this 960 to 10 area on the downside. So we're going to mark that off now as our focal point for a downside move. So our measured move is finished there. We're again doing the retracement higher. All the markets are actually behaving very similarly in their thing. We're seeing counter rallying here. We're looking for the retracement zone to go a little higher than in the other sectors, maybe 1080 to 1160. One thing that's interesting here is that the Home Builders Index at this stage has had a very little upside follow through in the retracement, while some of the other sectors have been much stronger. So it's quite possible that once this runs out of steam, we could see some more aggressive selling in the Home Builders Index. Next year, I want to take a look at the ISE Natural Gas Index, which is symbol FUM. And over here, we marked off what was the measured move on the downside in the 90-94 area. And essentially, we had some short-term selling down into those zones, but more or less, almost all the closes were contained into our 94-96 focal point. At this stage, we're seeing that retracement move, looking for this upside move to go as high as the 100 to 106 area. But again, more than likely, this will continue to behave very similar to the broader markets. Finally, I want to take a look at the ISE Mini FTSE 100 Index, which is the symbol UKX. Here, we saw only a brief breakdown below that 500 to 510 focal point on the downside, which at that moment had us targeting a move potentially as low as the 480. But when the whole market started reversing and we saw the bounces there, then the FTSE quickly turned around and started to retrace higher. An upside move could go as high as that 550 focal point up above, but I don't at this stage think that it will make it all the way up into there. We're looking for some further rallying and follow through up into the blue box zone, maybe 530, 540, and only the most robust of counter rallies would see us go as high as the 550 area on the upside. Once this index starts running out of steam, we expect it to come back down with another round of selling at some stage. That was your ISE Equity Index Outlook. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. For more information about Patrick Ceresna and to sign up for free index options trade alerts, visit www.optionsource.net. To learn more about ISE index options, visit us at www.ise.com/indexoptions.